Okay, my lawn lovers, this one is for you again because we're getting a lot of questions as to what to do right now, and I want to make sure we're clear on this because it can be a little complicated if you're trying to dial things in. Now, for anybody trying to put down grass seed in the spring, there is one important step that you really need to pay attention to this at the end of the video because there's a specific crabgrass control you want to use that's going to help suppress the weeds but stop the crabgrass from growing. And if I'm seeding in the spring, I don't do it without putting this product down. So gotta wait till the end to find out what it is. Okay, so it's spring and everybody's starting to look outside and realizing how ratty the yard looks. Lots of bare patches and want to know, do I seed right now? Do I not seed right now? Well, step one is it's actually the worst time of year to actually seed your lawn. If your lawn is really bad and you have brown areas, I tell customers all the time, do what you got to do to make the lawn tolerable during the season, but limit your efforts to where you're willing to water all season long, because everything else we're going to talk about with weed controls don't matter if you're not able to water. Yard looks brown, we all pay attention to it. The minute it looks green and the grass is growing, we forget about it and move on to summer. And the next thing you know, by fall, the crabgrass has moved in, other weeds have moved in. Our eye just sees green in the middle of the lawn, and then all of a sudden we look close at it again come fall, and all the work we did in the spring is dead and needs to be redone again in the fall. So that's why fall is actually the best time to overseed your lawn, because the ground is warm and the air is cool. That's great for root production. In the spring, it's the polar opposite. The ground is cold, the air is warming up, so that's poor root production. And at the same time, all the fertilizer, lime, all the treatments we're putting down are going to favor the growth of the weeds just as much as the grass. So if you're going to seed in the spring, or if you're just trying to thicken up your lawn and get it going through, this is what I recommend. Focus your efforts on those trouble areas, the areas that are the most important to you. If you're looking at your backyard or your front yard and you just see brown, do it. Take care of it. It'll drive you nuts all season long. But at the same time, what we focus on when we're taking on new accounts, the first thing I do is check the pH of the soil. pH wants to be around 6.5. Around here in New England, especially southern New England, our pH tends to run really low. So the first thing we do is do a soil test, and then it's not if we need lime, it's how many treatments. And lime is a little different than fertilizers. You can only do lime within 4 to 5 months, depending on the brand. In between, if you correct the pH of your soil too fast, you can cause more headaches. So we're going to go out and we'll do fast acting lime now, and then if we have a lawn renovation that's been neglected, it's the first thing I do is get that lime down. Now, once we've treated, and again, we use fast-acting lime because it's going to react faster in the soil. We'll dig into that another day, but if you just remember that term, most pelletized lime, powdered limes, they take a long time, month and a half before the grass even knows it's there. So fast-acting lime helps get the pH moving faster. But right now, the biggest thing we want to do is pay attention to fertilizers. So we've moved over to the Jonathan Green line. I'm really impressed with the whole product, the whole line of fertilizers and grass seed from Jonathan Green. But if you're looking for most people, they're used to using a 4-step program. And so this is step 1, what would typically have been step 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you're using Scott's or some of the others, they still put the steps names on there. But basically what they are is you have a crabgrass preventative and fertilizer. That goes down sometime around now. We do it a little bit earlier because I actually, on the lawns we take care of, do crabgrass preventative twice because the fact that it's such a hard weed to control. I rather focus on preventing weeds than curing them. So we do this now, and then we'll do it again from 6 to 8 weeks from now. If you're looking for the ideal, historically best window to put down step 1, that is when the forsythia, the first yellow bushes, stop flowering, and put that down between when they start coming to full bloom to petal drop. Then 6 to 8 weeks later, we do a weed and feed. Again, fertilizer with weed control. This step is a little bit more difficult. Timing is imperative. Crabgrass, you can put down any time that you can spread it. So as long as the grass is dry, you can put this down. Weed and feed is a little bit, to get these products to work properly, usually you have to put it down. You can't have cut your grass for a day or two before. You can't cut it for a day or two after. You need to put it down while the grass is damp, so usually maybe first thing in the morning with a heavy dew. But you cannot put this down when we're going to rain within 24 hours. The weed killer needs to stick on the leaves in order to work. They call these summer survivals. I'm not a fan of putting these down in the summer. We wait until the rain comes back in September, and then we do a good fertilizer at that point. Straight fertilizer, no weed killers or grub killers. Some of these do have insect control. Jonathan Green's does have insect control in there, marketing towards some grubs. But again, that's just their program. I will focus on preventative grub control, but it works. And then winter survival. This last step is the biggest one that most people mess up the most. This goes down, in my opinion, the best for application out of the year is a winter fertilizer is the almost November here in southern Rhode Island, because the fact that we want to put that down once the grass is going dormant and we've cut the lawn for the last time. So those programs, that's kind of steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. There are ways to customize it, but that's a nice, easy system. So if you're focused on getting your fertilizers down, fix the pH of the soil, get some lime down, get on that basic 4-step program, you're going to get good results. And granted, the biggest influencer on everything is how much rain we're getting. If we're not getting rain and that grass goes dormant, you're not getting anything. There's nothing good that's going to come out of this. And so the flip side is, so Mother Nature has to help unless you have irrigation. But if you're watching, never apply it in the summertime. Any fertilizers, if your ground is bone dry, I don't care what the manufacturer says, the grass wants to go dormant, let it. And so we don't do anything during the summer heat. So fix the pH, get your fertilizer programs down. If you really want to customize it, we can discuss substituting out the weed and feed product for a second application of crabgrass preventative. Just remember, please never, ever, ever apply any of these products within 6 to 8 weeks of each other. If there's fertilizer in the combination bag of fertilizer, applicator that you're putting down, so basically if it's like a crabgrass preventative and fertilizer, you need 6 weeks minimum, and that's for the fertilizer, not for the weed killers. Too much fertilizer can burn the grass, can do more damage than good. Definitely not one of those areas where 1 pound is good, 2 pounds is better. Apply your fertilizers at the rate. Do the math, figure out what size your lawn is, and only apply the appropriate product in the right time. Okay, so one last important thing, if you're putting all this effort into renovating your lawn, one of the biggest things you want to do is pay attention to, one, if I am seeding in the spring, because you just have to, I am swapping out that stage 1, that crabgrass preventative that we talked about, which every brand has a stage 1. It's a crabgrass preventative and fertilizer. That seed, although it's marketed to us for controlling crabgrass, that chemical doesn't know the difference between your lawn seed, weed seeds of any kind, or crabgrass. It just knows it's going to suppress weeds from germinating. So if you're putting down grass seed in the spring, you need to make that decision now before you start fertilizing your lawn. Because if you just went through and put stage 1 all through your lawn, you can't seed until the fall. Sorry, it's just going to stop all your grass seed from growing. However, there is one product, and we use this is one area that we use the Scott's Stage 1 for new seeding. It's very important. If you're going to seed in the spring, it's important that you're putting down a starter fertilizer. It's important that you're putting down some kind of weed suppression. So Scott's makes a product, Stage 1 for new seeding. A lot of the manufacturers all have it, their own version of it, and there's only 1 or 2 chemicals that know this. The chemical is smart enough to know the difference between your grass seed and weed seeds. So we'll put it down, and it will help suppress some of the weeds. You're still going to get some. It's not a miracle, but you are going to get some suppression of weeds in the spring, and it's going to have a starter fertilizer, because it's very imperative that you get that grass seed up and running as quick as possible if you're going to grow in the spring. So if you're seeding, swap out, and you don't have to do your whole lawn in it. It's an expensive product. So if I have patches in the front that are reseeding, I'll do this new seeding in the entire front yard. And then I'll switch to the traditional, a little less expensive product called the regular crabgrass preventative for the rest of my yard. So that's a hugely important step. The last one is, if you're putting all this effort into controlling your, fixing your lawn, it's that right behind me. That's a picture of a grub. Grubs are a huge nuisance in the lawn industry. So what we do on our programs is we wait until late May, early June, and we put down a grub preventative. Or we'll use milky spore. Milky spore is a natural bacteria that's found in the soil, and it will help suppress grubs for up to 10 years. That's a completely different conversation. Just wanted to make sure you knew it was out there. However, if you're putting all this effort into renovating a lawn or trying to keep your lawn looking good, late May, early June around here, you want to put down a preventative grub control. Grubs only happen once a year. They're going to hatch over the summer. If you kill those babies when they're little over the summer months, you will be grub free for the entire year. There's only one life cycle of grubs. Prevent them in summer, you're clear for the year. If you didn't put down preventative, come September, you're going to want to put down a contact killer like that Summer Survival or a Dilox or something that's going to kill grubs that are there. They can really turn a lawn upside down. Hope that helps. Take care.